12-week series, 2 days a week. So class number 3 out of 24. They're going to fly by, I promise. They're going to fly by. Before you know it, you'll be trying to, or going for those 108.
Okay. You can hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you, Loretta.
Okay. But I can't seem to, for some reason, this is acting different than when I do Zoom with my daughter, so I'm not sure what's going on.
It's okay if you don't have your camera on. That's totally up to you.
I can't get to it. It's not letting me get to it to turn it on. So, and it should, because I'm getting all sorts of goofy stuff. Here, start my video. There we go.
There you go.
Loretta, I just sent you a request. It should now just pop up with a button, and hopefully you can, oh, there you go.
Yeah, I guess each Zoom site, I mean, the way it's set up is different. So, and my daughter has it set up, I think, so that everything just is automatic, but that's okay. We'll figure it out.
All right. Let's see.
Okay. So I'm unmuted, but you can mute me when you're ready, Collin.
All right. Thank you, Loretta. All right. So today's class, if you don't already have it, we're going to need 2 blocks and a blanket or some towels that you can stack up, and any other gear that you may need for the class. So if that's a chair, grab a chair, a pillow, an eye blanket, whatever you need. We're going to start in a seated position, and I will meet you there in just 1 minute. So if you would like to just go ahead and start in that seated position, you can do right over left, left over right, whatever's comfortable for you. If you're seated in a chair, those feet flat on the floor, nice tall spine. All right. And for everyone that's just tuning in who do not know me, my name is Collin Yarborough. I am a 200-hour registered yoga teacher with the Veterans Yoga Project Teacher Alliance. I decided to put on this 12-week series after graduating from the VYP course in October this past year. It was something that was life-changing, and after the course, I ended up doing 108 Sun Salutations about a week later, and it was something that I thought that everyone should maybe experience if they have the opportunity to, just because of how those 108 Sun Salutations with the breath work and the body work and how it connects the mind and the body together really comes together. And I just wanted to give the opportunity to share that with other veterans, especially during the new year. And again, we'll be ending on the Spring Solstice. We did that on purpose. So to begin, I just want to let you know of my space. I do have a dog. You may see him right now. He's looking at me, thinking that it's time to play. But you may see him coming in and out, or you may hear him bark. There's someone downstairs. So coming into our nice seated position, closing the eyes if you would like, or having a soft gaze. And again, for those tuning in now, today's class will be about strength and support. So the strength and support of the muscle groups that will help us through the 12-week series, so we can build up the strength, build the support in the muscles, the ligaments, and the tendons. And as you're coming into your space, taking a nice deep breath through the nose, inhaling, And then slowly letting it out back through the nose. Do this 2 more times. Inhale through the nose. Exhale back through the nose. One more time. Inhale through the nose. And exhaling through the nose. And begin to just bring your awareness to the space around you. Notice any noises in your general area. And as you notice those noises, not applying any names to them, just noticing the sounds. And then as you notice those noises, begin to expand that awareness a little bit farther from your mat or your chair. Maybe taking a moment of gratitude for showing up for yourself today, taking the time to get on your mat, whether you decide to just sit here today and relax or participate in the flow, giving yourself that gratitude for showing up for you. And if you're in that seated position on the floor, I invite you now to go ahead and switch legs. So if that right leg is on top of that left, go ahead and switch legs. So now maybe left is on top of right or vice versa. And then coming back to that nice sitting position. Dropping the shoulders away from the ears. Imagining there's a string attached to the top of your head as though it's pulling your head up, having a slight bend or a slight tilt in the chin towards the chest. We'll inhale together. So inhaling through the nose and sighing it out through the mouth. Letting go. Inhale one more time through the nose. Letting it go through the mouth with a sigh. And maybe setting an intention for yourself, whatever that might look like for you, for your practice this evening. Good example is, I am enough. I may mess up and that's okay. Whatever works for you this evening. you're in that seated position, go ahead and begin to wiggle the fingers. Maybe move the body from side to side, almost like a swaying tree, blowing in the wind, starting to loosen the spine up. We'll do things a little bit different today. Keep you on your toes. At your pace, we're going to move onto our hands and knees, but we're going to actually come into a wide-legged child's pose to start. Hi, bud. So having the knees coming out to the edge of the mat, our toes coming together, walking the hands out in front of us as we drop our hips back towards our feet, lowering the head towards the mat. If pressing into the hands is too much for you this evening, you can always drop the elbows down to the ground. From here, pressing back up into that tabletop we talked about last week. So having the hands coming underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the elbow. And again, if you're on a chair, you can still do this with us. Having the hands on the thighs if you're in a chair. We're going to drop the belly, lift the gaze, lift the tail up to the sky, pressing through our feet on the inhale. Exhale, draw the belly in, press through the hands, pressing through the feet, rounding the spine. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze, lift the tail, pressing through the hands and the feet. Exhale, draw the belly in, press through the hands, round the spine. Just go at your own pace here, whatever works for you. And again, if you're in that chair, I'll give you kind of an example. As we exhale, we pull the elbows together, drop the chin. Inhale, pressing our shoulder blades together gently. If you're on the mat, still doing those cat-cows at your own pace. Maybe here, wagging the dog tail. So swaying the hips from left to right, just warming the spine up. Coming back to that neutral tabletop, we'll walk our hands just a little bit out in front of us. We'll drop the chest towards the mat as we walk our hands out into puppy pose. So keeping the hips high up towards the sky, just dropping the chest down towards the ground. If this is too much on the shoulders, you can drop the elbows down to the mat. Finding your breath. Pressing through the hands, coming back up. We're going to tuck the toes underneath the feet, pressing through the hands, lifting the hips up towards the sky, downward facing dog, pressing through the hamstrings, through the calves. Just pedal out the feet here. We're going to start warming the body up, so start generating some heat. Today's class will be a little bit quicker than it was last week, so we're going to be flowing with our breath here. So pedaling out the feet, pressing through the hands, maybe noticing if you're rolling to the outsides of the hands, maybe pressing into the thumb, the index finger, all the fingers into the floor. Identifying your right foot now, lifting that right foot off the ground and then placing that right foot in between the hands, dropping that left foot down to the ground, lifting the chest on the inhale, low runner's lunge. Checking in with your alignment, the knee in line with the ankle. pressing down into the top of the left foot, and then almost like we're pulling the thighs together, really pressing into that left hip. On your next exhale, we're going to plant the hands back down to the mat, lifting the left knee off the ground, placing that right foot back to meet the left in downward facing dog. Here, if you would like to go through a flow, I'll cue a flow. If you would like to follow along, you can. If not, you can always come down to child's pose and just hang out here. So coming into a plank, so shoulders in line with the elbows, you can drop the knees here. We're going to lower ourselves down to the ground, elbows tucked in towards the body. Inhale, press up in through the palms, lifting the chest, baby cobra. Curl the toes, press up through the hands, lifting into downward facing dog. Catching your breath here. Well, inhale, identify that left foot. Inhale, lift that left foot up. Exhale, as you place that left foot in between the hands, dropping the right knee down to the ground, lifting the chest up. Runner's lunge. Again, and here, checking in with that alignment again, aligning that knee with the ankle. You can have your hands on your hips here, or hands up overhead with the biceps along the ears. And almost like we're pulling the thighs together here. If you are not breathing, you may have gone too far, so you should still be able to do nice inhales and exhales here. On your next exhale, planting the hands back down to the ground, lift that right knee off the ground, placing that left foot back to meet the right, and downward facing dog. Again, if you would like to go through your flow here, I invite you to do so. If not, you can just hang out with me in downward facing dog. On your next exhale, slowly begin to walk the feet towards the hands. We'll come into a forward fold. So staying in that forward fold, I'm going to turn and face the camera so you all can kind of see me a little bit better. You can, from here, maybe grab the elbows, swaying from side to side. Letting the head hang heavy. Maybe letting the hands loose, having a slight bend in the knees here. And then pressing through your feet, feeling the support of the mat and the ground underneath you as you slowly begin to rise up, vertebrae by vertebrae, remembering to breathe here, not holding our breath. Coming into mountain pose. I'm going to turn and face the camera. So planting those feet underneath the hips, so feet in line with the hips. Hands coming down by our sides, palms facing forward. Just finding that nice, steady mountain pose. Maybe rocking the feet from side to side, rocking on the heels and toes. So we're going to move in to our Sun Salutations again. So that first week we did the Sun Salutation A's, which is what we're going to be working on over the next 12 weeks. I'm going to be adding in a chair modification this class. You do not have to do the chair modification. The first round, I am going to have the chair. And then the second and third round, I'll be standing with everyone. I'm still going to cue. So again, that as we inhale, we bring the arms up overhead. So find a nice standing position. If you're in a chair, sitting in your chair at the very edge. So we're going to inhale, arms come up overhead. Exhale, we're going to forward fold, bending at the waist. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, if you're standing, coming down to the ground. Inhale, baby cobra. So if you're in that chair, you can take the hand, put it on the chest, your thighs, and just curl the back. And your exhale, downward facing dog. So pressing through the hands, finding your breath. If you're in the chair, straightening the legs out, folding forward. On your next exhale, step, hop, or walk. Coming into a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arms come up overhead. Exhale, hands come together, down through center. All right, we're going to go through 2 more rounds of this. I'm gonna cue standing this time. So coming into that nice mountain pose, finding your breath again. Inhale, arms up, come up overhead. Exhale, bending at the waist, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step, hop back, and lower the body down to the ground, elbows tucked in. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, tuck the toes, press through the hand, come on knees, hips rise, downward fold. On your next exhale, step, hop, or walk the feet behind the hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, press through the feet, rise up. Arms come overhead. Exhale, hands come down through center. We'll do 1 more round of the Sun Salutation version A. So inhale, arms come overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step or hop back. Lower yourself down to the mat. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, curl the toes, press up into downward facing dog. On your next exhale, step, walk, or hop. Hands behind, the feet behind the hands. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, press through the feet. Rise up, arms come overhead. Exhale, hands come through heart center. All right. Now we're moving on to Sun Salutation version B. So we're going to add just 2 things to this one, which is going to be our Warrior 1. So I'll still cue, and we're going to have 2 rounds of this. I'm still going to cue as normal. Just follow along. And again, I'll cue as needed. So inhale, arms come up overhead. Exhale, forward fold, bending at the waist. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step, hop, or walk back, lower the body to the ground. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, curl the toes underneath the feet, press up into downward facing dog. All right, we're not going to be here for too long. So inhale, we're going to lift the right foot and place it all on the inhale right behind that right hand. And we're going to raise the chest up all on the inhale. So here we can be our back foot's, we're coming on the ball of the foot. We're going to hold it here just for a second. We're squaring the hips to the front of the mat. Have our hands on our hips or hands, or the biceps come along the ears. Exhale, plant the hands. Place that right foot back to me to the left and lower the body back down to the ground. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, curl the toes. Press through the hands, come into downward facing dog. Find a breath here. On your next inhale, you're going to lift that left foot this time and place that left foot behind the left hand. Lift the chest up. If you need to, you can always lower that knee down to the ground. Exhale, plant the hands back to the mat, placing that left foot back to meet the right, lowering the body back down to the floor. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, curl the toes, lift the hips up towards the sky, downward facing dog. 3 breaths here. If you're feeling a bit winded, you can drop down into child's pose so the knees can come out wide, feet can come together. Taking a breath here. If you're in child's pose, we're going to go ahead and meet back in that downward facing dog. If you're in downward facing dog, we'll meet you there in just 1 second. On your next exhale, we'll step, hop, or walk the feet behind the hands again. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, press through the feet, rise up, hands come up overhead. Exhale, hands come together as they come through heart center. All right, we're gonna do 1 more round of that. I know you can do it. We're building that heat up. All right, so inhale, arms come up overhead. Exhale, we're forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step the feet, or hop back, lower the body down to the ground. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, curl the toes, lift the hips up towards the sky, downward facing dog. On your next inhale, identifying that right foot, we're going to place that right foot behind the right hand. You can either drop the knee down to the mat and come up to that warrior 1, or you can have the knee off the ground. Exhale, plant the hand back down to the mat. Take that right foot back to the left as you lower the body back down to the ground. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, curl the toes, press through the hands, lift the hips up towards the sky. Downward facing dog. On your next inhale, we're going to identify that left foot, lifting the left foot, placing the left foot behind the left hand, lifting the chest up into that lunge, squaring the hips towards the front of our mat. Exhale, place the hands back down to the mat. Left foot comes back to meet the right. Lower ourselves back down to the mat. Flatten the feet. And inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, curl the toes, press up through the hands, lift the hips up towards the sky. Downward facing dog. Here, if you would again like to come to that child's pose to rest, I invite you to do so now. If you'd like to stay in that downward facing dog, whatever works for you. We'll be here for 3 breaths. If you're in that child's pose, go ahead and meet us back in downward facing dog. Next, exhale, step, hop, or walk the feet behind the hands. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, pressing through the feet, begin to rise up, arms come up overhead. Exhale, hands come together as they travel through heart center. All right. Take a minute and mountain pose. I'm going to turn and face the camera again. Maybe closing the eyes if that's in your practice. If not, having the eyes open. Feeling the effects of the sun salutations on your body as we build that heat up. If at any point, again, if you begin to feel dizzy, lightheaded, go ahead and just take a seat or come into that child's pose. All right. So we're going to move into our warrior 2 stuff. So coming to the top of your mat, go ahead and come to that mountain pose again, identifying that left foot this time, transferring some of that weight onto the left foot, just barely hovering that right foot off the ground, and just set it back down. That one more time. So identifying that left foot, just raise the right foot off the ground just a little bit as you put weight into that left foot. And then placing that right foot behind you. So the arch of the back foot or your right foot is in line with the heel of your left foot. You're pressing to the outside of your right foot, opening the left hip. Arms come out to a T. So checking the shoulders, making sure the shoulders are dropped away from the ears. Engaging the core, so squeezing those abdominal muscles together. Finding your breath here. Pressing through that front foot, that left foot will come into this triangle position, right? We can see this triangle. We're going to come into this triangle, arms sort of out at a T. Imagine there's a countertop in front of your left hand. We're just going to slide our hand forward, shifting our right hip back. And then we're going to drop that left hand down towards the left foot. Right arm can come up to the sky. We're opening the chest up here. If this is too much, having a slight bend in the knee is always helpful. And then you can always use your block. Place the hand down on the block. Finding our breath here. If it's uncomfortable for you to have your arm up towards the sky, you can always place it on the hip and just open the chest out. And your next exhale, pressing through that front foot, coming back up to standing in your triangle pose. And then from here, we're going to rotate our left foot so that our toes are facing the same direction as our right foot. So turning on the ball of our foot. So now our toes should be facing the same direction. And if you can see me, and now I'm facing the camera. From here, we're going to lift the arms up overhead. And exhale, we're going to forward fold, bending at the waist here, wide-legged forward fold. Sometimes I like to have that block nearby just to place my hands on. I talked about this in some of the other videos. I have really bad tight hamstrings, but always encourage the use of blocks and any other gear that you may need. Inhale, we're going to engage the core, press through the outside of the feet. We're going to lift back up, leading with our heart. Hands can come at our side here. Checking in with the feet. Still in this wide-legged pose. And take the arms, come out to like a cactus. We're going to have a bend in the elbow, a 90-degree bend in both arms. And then we're just going to drop our hips down towards the ground, coming into almost like a squat or a goddess pose, while we're pressing our hips away from one another. So it may be helpful to maybe have your hands on your hips as we press the hips away from one another. Engaging the core here, really tightening up those abs and holding this position. And exhale, pressing through the feet, coming back out of the position. Identifying that left foot again. We're going to come back into that warrior two. So we're rotating on the balls of the foot. We're just going to rotate it so our heel is now again in line with the back of our right foot, the arch of our right foot. Arms can come back out at a T. And then almost like you're leaning into that front foot, you're just going to step that right foot back up to meet the left. I'm going to rotate sides. We're going to do this again on the other side. So coming into that nice mountain pose. Finding our breath again. Identifying that right foot. Putting some weight on that right foot as you barely lift that left foot off the ground and then place it back down. We'll do this one more time. Pressing into our right foot, putting our weight onto it, lifting it off the ground and placing it back down. This time, pressing into that right foot, lifting that left foot off the ground. We're going to place it about 3 feet behind us. The arch in line with the left heel. Opening up our hip here. Opening up that right hip. Pressing to the outside of the left foot. Arms can come out at a T. Looking over our fingertips here. Knee in line with the ankle, so checking in with the knee and the ankle. Engaging our core as we breathe here. Pressing into that front foot now, we're going to come into that triangle pose. So now our right foot, should be fully extended. Taking our right fingertips, almost as though we're sliding those hands and those fingertips across the counter. We're going to reach forward with our right fingertips. Dropping our right hand down to the ground, opening our chest out to the left. And using whatever gear you need in your practice. Maybe having a slight bend in the knee. As you inhale, press back up through the front foot. We're going to rotate one more time on the right ball of the foot. So our toes are in line with one another, so they should be facing the outside of your mat. If they're facing in opposite directions, I would like to meet you and see that in person. So our toes are facing the same direction. Our hips are out, our feet are out past our hips here, hands at our hips. Inhale, lengthening the spine. Exhale, forward fold, bending at the waist, grabbing any props, any gear that you need. Inhale, pressing back up through the feet as you rise back up to standing. Hands can come at our hip. Rotating again on that left or that right ball of the foot. Turning those toes at the front of your mat again. Heel in line with the arch of the back foot. Arms come out at a T, our warrior two. And almost as though we're leaning onto that right foot, we're going to take that left foot back up to meet the right. Hands can come down at our side here. We'll go through a flow. So inhaling, arms come up overhead. Exhale, forward fold, bending at the waist. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step, hop, back, As you lower the body, maybe knees, chest, chin. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, tuck the toes. Press through the hands, lift the hips, downward facing dog. You can stay in down dog, or if you would like, you can drop the hips down, knees come out wide into a child's pose. Noticing how the body and the breath feels together. If you're in child's pose, go ahead and press back up into that tabletop. Curl the toes, lift the hips, press through the hands. Downward facing dog. Exhale, walk the hands toward, or walk the feet, towards the hands. Into that forward fold. Inhaling, pressing through the feet, rise up, hands come up over the head. Exhale, hands come through heart center. All right. Next thing we're going to do is called tree pose. So I'm going to turn and face the camera again so you all can see me. So with tree pose, we're working on that balance and that stability in each leg. So we're going to start with our left foot. So identifying that left foot, we're going to put that weight into our left foot. From here, we have 3 options of what you can do for tree pose. You can either place the heel on the inside of that left shin with the toes still touching the ground. You can place the right foot on the inside of the left calf. And if it's in your practice, you can grab the right foot and place it on the inside of that left thigh. We want to avoid at all costs putting any weight of our foot on the inside of our knee. Never, never, never do that. Once you find the position that works for you, bringing maybe the hands together in front of the chest, hands can come out at a T, or hands can stay on the hips. And we're pressing our right hip open. It's almost like we're pulling our right hip forward, tucking our tailbone, and the right knee is almost trying to pull backwards towards the back side of our mount. If you are swaying like a tree, that's okay. It's totally normal. Sometimes it helps to have a focal point in front of you to focus on. On your next exhale, we're going to place that right foot back down to the ground. But as we're lowering it back down to the ground, we're going to bring our feet so they're hip width distance apart, and we're going to drop our hips back. We're going to come to that chair pose. So dropping our hips back, our knees are behind our toes, lifting the arms up overhead, leading with our chest here. The hands can also be at the hips. If this is too much for you, you can always just come out of the pose just a little bit. Again, we're really trying to build up the strength and support for the next 12 weeks. Holding it here and using the core. I know you can do it. You got it. Exhale, forward fold. Let it go. Maybe sway from side to side in your forward fold. Inhaling, pressing through the feet, rise up, arms come up overhead. Exhale, bringing the hands back down through heart center. All right, moving on to that next side. So identifying your right foot this time. I'm going to put a little bit of weight on that right foot. Coming to whichever variation of tree works for you. So maybe you're placing that left heel on the right ankle, the bottom of the left foot. on the calf, or again, if it's in your practice, placing that left foot on the inside of the right thigh. Hands can come to heart center, at a T, whatever works for you. And we're really emphasizing opening up the hip here and checking in also with your right toes. Are you crunching your toes almost like you're trying to grip the floor, or I call it gorilla feet? So checking in and seeing if your feet are nice and flat. On your next exhale, placing that left foot back down to the mat. We're going to come one more time in a chair. The feet come hip width distance apart. We're going to drop our hips back down towards the ground, knees behind the toes, lifting the arms up, leading with our chest, chair pose. Exhaling, forward fold. And swaying from side to side. So we're going to make our way down to our mat. So however you need to get there, we're going to meet on our bellies with our palm or our hands at our sides with the palms facing up towards the sky. You can have the forehead resting on the mat, or maybe one side of your cheek. Just hang out here for a minute. All right, moving to what's called boat or a slight back bend. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in groups of 3 here. So we're going to press our feet into the ground as we just lift our chest up. So hands stay on the mat as well, lifting our chest up. Exhaling, coming back down to the mat. This time we're going to lift the hands and the chest. So on the inhale, lifting the hands and the chest off the ground, keeping the feet nice and flat against the floor. Exhale, lowering the body back down. This last one, we're going to lift the feet, hands, and the chest all at the same time, engaging our core as we do so. So engaging the core, lifting the feet, hands, and chest. Exhale, let it go. We'll do that one more time. So inhale, lifting the feet, hands, and chest. Rolling the back. Exhale, let it go. And then just rolling onto our backs from here. Bending the knees, feet can be flat on the floor. We're going to come into a bridge pose next. Maybe letting the knees drop from side to side. Finding stillness. So before we move into that bridge pose, getting our body in the correct position, whatever way works for your body. I like to tell students to slide their butt towards their heels instead of vice versa. So sliding your butt towards the heels. Palms can be flat on the mat here. Maybe rocking from side to side as you try and put the shoulder blades underneath the shoulders. Finding stillness here. And if you would like, before we move into the bridge, sometimes it's good to place a block in between the legs. So as you lift the hips, you have something to squeeze your thighs together. So if you would like to use a block in between the legs, you can place that there now. Finding our breath. All right, moving into our bridge. So pressing through the feet, lifting the hips off the ground, squeezing the thighs together, pressing the palms into the mat, into our shoulders. Our head can be nice and loose here. Should be able to just rock it from side to side. Engage in the core. Exhale, lower the hips back down to the ground. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhale, pressing through the feet, lifting the hips off the ground, pressing through the palms and the shoulders, squeezing our thighs together. Exhale, let it go, lower back down. Last one. Inhale, pressing through the feet, lifting the hips off the ground, pressing through the palms and shoulders, squeezing the thighs together, holding it here. Exhale, lowering the hips back down to the ground. If you have that block in between your legs, you can remove that block, push it off to the side, and just let the knees fall from side to side in a windshield wiper motion. Finding stillness, bringing the knees to the chest, hugging the knees towards your chest, rocking from side to side, massaging out the low back. Letting go of the left leg down to the mat. Holding that right knee in towards the chest. We're going to drop that right knee over to the left now. Our right arm can be flat on the ground. Checking in and making sure our shoulder blade, our right shoulder is still touching the mat. If it's lifted off the ground, you may have gone a little too far. So it's okay to let the right knee kind of hover. On your next exhale, bringing that right knee back to center, hugging it in towards the chest. And then placing that right leg flat on the ground. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So bringing that left knee in towards the chest, hugging it with our hands. Inhaling. As we exhale, dropping that left knee over to the right. Inhaling, bringing that left knee back to center. Hugging that left knee in towards the chest here. Exhale, placing that left leg down to the ground. Coming into our final resting pose, Shavasana. Taking up as much space as you would like. You can grab a blanket and place a blanket underneath the knees for a little bit extra support. If you need an eye blanket, you can always grab that. And as you're lying in Shavasana, letting you know that I am in a seated position. Relaxing into your final resting pose, feeling the effects of the last hour. And as you're resting the body, I'm going to do a short body scan. Starting at the crown of the head, begin to relax. The top of the head, feeling the full weight of the ground underneath you. Relaxing the facial muscles, skin around the eyes, relaxing the jaw and the tongue. Relaxing the throat. Relaxing the chest. Relaxing the shoulders. Relaxing the arms. Relaxing the hands. Relaxing the belly. Relaxing the hips. Relaxing the thighs. Relaxing the knees. Relaxing the calves and the shins. Relaxing the ankles. Relaxing the feet and the toes. You feel the full support of the ground underneath you. Begin to bring awareness back to your breath. Maybe wiggling the fingers and the toes as you wake the body back up. Maybe curling the wrists and the ankles. Rolling to one side. Using the arm for support underneath the head. Taking your time. Pressing into one of your arms as you come up into a seated position at your pace. You can keep the eyes closed or soft gaze as we close our practice. You can either have the hands on the thighs, or hands can come together, palms can come together, heart center. Taking a moment of gratitude for someone or something that allowed you to be here on your mat today. Maybe someone that supported you today. Maybe that someone was yourself. Giving yourself gratitude for taking the time out of your day to take care of yourself today on the mat. We'll drop our chin towards our chest and bowing to close our practice. Thank you for allowing me to teach the third day of this yoga series. I look forward to seeing you all again very soon. Thank you. We have class again. So the next class this week is on Thursday at 6:30. It is a restorative class. So for Thursday's class, we can have blankets, blocks, bolsters, couch cushions, towels, whatever you need to give yourself support for Thursday. And again, that's at 6:30, not 5:30.
Yeah.
Mountain Standard Time.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome.
Great. Thanks, Collin.
Yeah, Steve.
Good to see you, Tammy and Loretta.
You too. Thanks, Collin.
Yeah.
Collin, maybe I missed it. Is there a journal prompt tonight?
Oh, I forgot to put it in there.
That's okay. We're still recording, so people will still see.
All right. So I'll drop the journal prompt for this evening is one yoga pose that I love and one yoga pose that makes me cranky. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a fun one. Are you going to make me do the one that makes me cranky?
It's up to you. All All right. We offline?
We should be now, yeah.